Well, Police Minister Bheki Cele confirmed yesterday that one suspect was arrested under suspicion of killing 10 family members in the township of Imbali in Pietermaritzburg. The family is said to have been ambushed in their home by gunmen in the early hours of Friday morning and killed all members present. While one suspect is in police custody, another was killed in a shootout with police, while another fled. Communities say acts of this nature are not uncommon in Pietermaritzburg and attribute this reoccurrence to the lack of safety interventions in communities. Well, for more insights, let's speak to the Executive Director of Lifeline Pietermaritzburg and community activist Sinikiwe Biyela. Sinikiwe, thank you so much for your time and thank you for joining us on our platform this morning. How would you characterize the violence in some of these sort of communities and the surrounds in Pietermaritzburg?
Good morning, Dovozo, and good morning to the viewers of Newzroom Afrika. Indeed, the incident that you've just referred to had happened in Imbali, and it left the communities in a deep state of shock and deep fear because they're fearing for their lives. Normally, when you're behind the closed doors, that's when you feel you are safe in your own home. But actually, this incident has again proven to the communities in Imbali that they are not safe. So it has left everybody shaken and actually wondering if they're still going to be living tomorrow or next week if the crime incident are this high. This is very common in Imbali, but not only in Imbali, in the entire Places Lake catchment area. The crime incident in that particular side of Pietermaritzburg, it's actually very alarming and it's very worrying for all the communities that lives in that area. The area seems to have a lot of guns that are floating, that sometimes you even find teenagers having access to the guns that they shouldn't be having. But also housebreaking incidents have become a daily bread. If there is no housebreaking in your house, you thank God and you're very grateful that actually there were no break-in. But also what is shocking is the fact that at times the perpetrators will follow the person from the community to town to actually kill and shoot that person. So we've had incidents where people have been followed from the bus stop up to the city and then they get killed in the city, but actually the person comes from the same area.
Yeah. Well, Sinikiwe, what you've just described for us really is one, a long-standing issue and one that apparently is metastasizing over time. And I wonder, because, you know, yesterday, after the bodies of the family members were discovered, we saw a massive police contingent stationed outside. But, you know, that police visibility alone, I wonder if, as a community, you feel as though police are in fact winning the battle against the gun violence in Pietermaritzburg.
I think first of all, maybe I need to really commend the community of Imbali for alerting the police, because that incident was reported by community members, but also for alerting to them in terms of where the suspects were at that particular time, because the police were able to track down the suspects into the house where they were because of the community members. So I really want to commend them for actually reporting this incident and reporting where the suspects were. If we could have community members doing more of this, we would definitely have less incidents of this nature. But also maybe commend the Places Lake Police Station for their swift move and prompt response yesterday in terms of arresting and getting where the suspects were. That is not actually a case where we see visibility of the police, in particular in that area. There is very less visibility of the police. So this is one very unusual case where actually we commend them, and we have to commend them because we're hoping more of this will be done if they know that as a community we appreciate what they did yesterday.
Right.
However, that's not enough. They should not be coming out because now 10 people have been killed, 10 lives have been lost, including a 2-year-old child, when it should not have happened. So I think our biggest cry in this community is the fact that, first of all, Places Lake Police Station is having a big catchment area that it's very actually difficult for them to actually try and work in this big area with very, very limited resources. Most of the times, there are no vans to actually go out. Even if the community members are phoning the police station and reporting incident, most of the times, there are no vans. I have practical examples where at times I'll have to phone the station commander and say, please, do delegate your people to come into this area because there is a problem. So whether it's the issue of the vans or at times it's the issue of the police not being willing to go out there and work in the community, it's a discussion for another day.
Yeah.
But what happened yesterday, we are really grateful that they worked promptly and swiftly in terms of chasing the perpetrators. But also what I want to say, Ntokozo, it's actually very sad that you get this kind of response when 10 lives have been lost. How about SAPS prevent losing 10 lives? How about we have prevention programs that will actually make sure that such incidents do not happen? Because we're being reactive, which is actually very wrong. Those lives are not going to be coming back. They're gone.
Yeah. Sinikiwe, you've actually touched on a very important point there, and really you've assisted me with my own segue into the next question, because really what we saw happening in Imbali is symptomatic of something much deeper that's gone horribly wrong in many of our communities. Now, officials speaking on what happened yesterday mentioned that the Imbali area is, obviously it's dealing with high levels of poverty, but also a high level of concentrated drug use, if I may put it that way. And I wonder, as someone who works at Lifeline, if this is something that you are in agreement with, that this is a community that is dealing with societal ills at the heart of the violence that we saw erupting Friday morning.
That is very, very true, Ntokozo. There are a lot of drug lords in the area, and every time there is a new rival in the community, then there will be more people that will be killed because they're fighting over the territory in terms of the drugs. So that's why I'm saying if police could actually prevent these killings by actually having more intervention at the community level to deal with the drug issue. Of course, some of the drug issues comes from the unemployment issues as well that we're having in this particular township and in the Pietermaritzburg area as a whole. The unemployment rate is also very, very high. So community members are trying to actually survive, but some of the survival modes are also wrong, the criminal activities like drugs. But what we also have seen, because Lifeline is also fortunate to be working in schools in Ntokozo, we have seen schools that have become circus, where during school times or period, young people will be actually smoking dacha in the school. They will be having drugs. Teachers have actually lost control over some of the schools that are in Imbali, where there is actually more like a hot spot for criminal activities. And these young people, they're teenagers, most of them, when they have no money anymore to buy these drugs, they then go get involved in petty criminal activities like stealing at the neighbor's house or doing this house breaking so that they would get more money to actually go buy more drugs and feed the habit. But they also, what we have seen, these young people, when they get involved in that kind of behavior, but the people that are grooming them, Ntokozo, are adults in the same community. That some of them are drug lords. They are using children to actually sell these drugs in schools, but they are using children to also buy this. But what is also worse, we've seen them encouraging young people to say, you will not get caught because we can use this motive to cleanse you out. So what we saw happening yesterday, that those guys, after they've killed the 10 people, they went into this traditional healer for cleansing. Even younger people, generation, our teenagers, have the same mentality that I can commit crime and I will be cleansed off and police will never arrest me. So again, you could see how deeply rooted now this problem is in the community of Imbali and the Pietermaritzburg area. We are already grooming young people to become criminals because criminal activities are happening as early as high school level.
Now, Sinikiwe, in your conversations with the police contingent out in the Imbali area, you've already mentioned that they're severely under-resourced and incapacitated. But I wonder if, even at a tactical level, they have an understanding of just how nuanced some of these crimes are in the area. I mean, you mentioned the ritual cleansing that allegedly took place after the shooting incident. The police in that area need to have that kind of know-how, really to sort of predetermine the kind of steps that they take in their policing. Do you get the sense that they have that knowledge, that they're that capacitated and that resourced, even though we know that it is a small police station servicing quite a large community?
What maybe to also just mention, Pietermaritzburg is the bigger police station that is in the area. In Imbali, we have a small satellite office that actually reports to Pietermaritzburg, and that satellite office, in my opinion, it's like it's too small. It's not serving the purpose. Really, I would not even call it as a police station if you have to look at the issues that we're having in Imbali. Imbali needs a fully fledged police station that is going to be really addressing these issues. The issues now, I think they're beyond Pietermaritzburg. These two areas should not be grouped together. But coming back to the actual knowledge, and I'm hoping Bheki Cele will listen to this, because Imbali needs a big police station. And if we're serious about protecting the communities, especially during these times where we're talking about freedom, and 29 years later into freedom, communities in Imbali are not free. They have to lock their houses every day. So I'm hoping he's listening, and they will build that satellite police station that is in Imbali into a fully fledged police station to deal with these issues. But coming back to the knowledge of the police officers, I think that also we're dealing with two things. Yes, we have police officers that lack knowledge and maybe know how to deal with some of these criminal activities, which I think training can assist in actually dealing with that issue. But the biggest problem that we see of the police officers is the attitude, is lack of will to actually go out and do this kind of work. So for me, there is no training that will change the police attitude or an attitude of a police officer that will actually think that when they get that phone call to say there is a criminal activity happening in this particular area, and that police officer will think that's not important, that's not serious. We see police vans written the name of the police station during the day, parked in the malls doing shopping, and you wonder, if we call with our GBV survivors saying there's a rape case, we get told police vans have gone out, but you get to see them parked in the malls and they're inside the mall shopping. Yeah. So for me, that's why I'm saying, how much of this is actually the lack of knowledge, and how much of it is the lack of will that we don't want to do it, and the attitude that actually people don't see this as an issue that needs an agent intervention. So I think between those two things, if we can get the attitude right of the police officers, and to have them have that sense of agency and actually monitor them, because I also don't know how much monitoring of the police officers is actually happening. For example, in Imbali, you hardly see a police van patrolling. If we know Imbali is a hotspot for criminal activities, why we don't have police vans patrolling randomly and have their houses that are well known? Because community members at times, they also know who are the perpetrators of these criminal activities, being searched randomly, because we know. So that's why I'm saying there is no proactivity on their side of the SAPS at times, and waiting for that always tip and waiting for major things like this to happen for us as community members. It's not on, and it's not the way things should be managed. If we really have to, if we're saying we want to fight crime and violence in Imbali and in Pietermaritzburg as a city.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sinikiwe, for those sentiments. Essentially, we just need more police visibility. That was Executive Director of Lifeline Pietermaritzburg and community activist Sinikiwe Biyela.